Hi, I'm Brent Phillips, and welcome to day one of our special event series on allergy clearing. We're going to start by talking about the energy that creates an allergy. But first, I do need to go over a quick disclaimer. You need to know that this is not a medical reference. The articles and videos in this series are for entertainment and informational purposes only. The author, me, is not a licensed medical practitioner, and this material is not intended to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease or condition, nor is it to be used as a medical reference, nor should you use it as a substitute for medical care from a licensed practitioner. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's talk about allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances. These things, especially to foods, are so widespread in our modern world that they probably deserve to be called epidemics. In fact, they're so common that even if you're one of the lucky few who manages to get through life without any kind of sensitivities or allergies or intolerances, I can pretty well guarantee that there are people close to you that are affected by them. So I think this material is useful to pretty much everybody. And so I created the special event series to give you everything you need to start to take active steps to help clear yourself or others of these problems. And we'll talk about both conventional and holistic alternative approaches. I think you'll find this material is equally applicable to all sorts of different allergies and sensitivities and intolerances, including foods, food additives, environmental things such as chemical sensitivities, pollen allergies, as well as medicines and supplements. I know this stuff works. When I was a child, I had all sorts of terrible allergies and sensitivities. I spent years of my youth going to allergists and doctors of various sorts, having all these tests done, getting allergy shots. Even as an adult, allergies continued to plague me. That was until I learned how to use energy healing to clear them. We're going to talk about that. I'll show you exactly how to do that. In fact, later in the series, you'll also receive the Formula for Miracles encoded allergy clearing audio, which even if you don't know anything about how to do energy healing, you can use this automatic audio as many times as you like to automatically clear many of your issues. And so before we delve into the details of how one uses energy to identify and release allergies and such, I want to start by building a foundation. I want to clearly and precisely define exactly what allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances are, as well as the important differences between them. And we're going to cover this both from the perspective of conventional medicine, the Western approach, allopathic medicine, as well as holistic health and energy healing. And so to help you better understand what's really going on here, we're going to talk about these things twice. First, we're going to talk about allergy sensitivities and intolerances from the Western medical perspective, what it is a doctor would explain them as. After that, we're going to go and cover the same material from the perspective of holistic health and energy healing. So let's jump right into it. What exactly are the differences between allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances? Well, from a conventional Western scientific reductionist perspective, an allergy is a reaction that involves the immune system. The immune system generates what's called a histamine response. Specifically, an allergy involves the immune system producing an antibody called IgE, which, in simple lay terms, means the immune system is activating to attack something that it thinks is dangerous, but is actually some harmless substance it has been exposed to. And so, allergic reactions can commonly include some combination of skin reactions, like hives, respiratory problems, sinus congestion, sneezing, and in extreme cases, such as a peanut allergy, they can even include life-threatening reactions like anaphylaxis. And so allergic reactions sometimes occur immediately upon exposure. Other times, there may be a delay of up to several hours before these symptoms appear. This is a little different than a sensitivity. A sensitivity is a reaction that does not involve the immune system, but it can still be pretty darn unpleasant. Typically, a sensitivity involves an exaggeration of the typical effects, or what some might say side effects, of a chemical or a food or a medicine or something in the environment. As an example, if you have a sensitivity to caffeine, you may get jittery and have trouble focusing after drinking just a few sips of coffee. And just as an FYI, side effects is a euphemism. It's a deceptive way of saying effects. So whenever someone tells you that a product or a procedure or something has side effects, delete the side. They're not side effects, they are effects. Hope that helps. And so, like allergies, in extreme cases, sensitivity reactions can even be life-threatening. One of the challenges with sensitivities is that the symptoms can be just about anything. It could be subjective, you could be fatigued, you could just not feel right. Also, the symptoms may show up right away after exposure, or it may be hours or even days later. So it can sometimes be challenging to connect cause and effect to identify sensitivities. Next is an intolerance. That's the lack of a particular chemical, often an enzyme needed to digest or process some food or supplement. As an example, if you're lactose intolerant, your body lacks the enzyme that breaks down lactose. So if you consume foods with lactose, it may make you quite sick because the lactose makes its way through your digestive system without being broken down. So that's a quick overview of the conventional definitions and understandings of these terms. Now let's go on to talk about allergies and sensitivities and intolerances from the perspective of energy healing. And so quite simply, from an energy healing perspective, allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances typically result from the body not recognizing or misidentifying what it's reacting to. And so I want to talk for a second about using muscle testing to identify allergies, sensitivities, and intolerances, which is what a lot of naturopaths and chiropractors and healers will do. This is important. If you're going to use muscle testing to ask the subconscious mind about allergies, you'll often get misleading results because your body usually does not understand that it is allergic to something. Why is that? From an energy healing perspective, allergies are typically created when your body either can't recognize or misrecognizes the allergen. And so the immune system, its job is to keep you safe and healthy. So it plays it safe. When it's exposed to something that it doesn't know what it is, it assumes it's a dangerous pathogen and activates the immune system to isolate it and remove that thing from your body. As a result, you have what we call an allergic reaction. Also remember, muscle testing can only reveal subconscious beliefs. It is not useful as a quantitative or reproducible medical test. We'll talk about those later in the series. They're different things. We will cover several different methods for how we can identify allergies later in the series. But for right now, I just want you to know that if you want to use muscle testing to help identify belief systems underneath allergies, you want to use the phrase offended by, or allergic to or offended by in your muscle test statements. Let me give you an example to make this clear. If you want to check your subconscious belief systems to see if they're holding a belief that there is a wheat allergy, what will not work right is I'm allergic to wheat. What works better is I am offended by wheat, or I am offended by or allergic to wheat. You might also check I'm offended by or allergic to gluten. So if you're an energy healer, I think you'll find that super useful. Allergies often result because your body simply doesn't recognize something, the allergen. And so your body often doesn't believe it has an allergy. Instead, the body understands that it is offended by that substance. And because it's offended by it, it activates the immune system to protect you from what it thinks could be some dangerous invasive pathogen. And the same goes for sensitivities. If you want to, for example, muscle test a sensitivity to wheat, you might muscle test the phrase, I am offended by or sensitive to wheat. Just be aware that the use of the word sensitive to is pretty subjective. And so that's less valuable in muscle testing. I usually stick to I am offended by or allergic to whatever, unless I have some reason to believe my client has some sort of sensitivity and we have to use that word. That's all I have to say for today. This is the end of day 1, and I'll be back very soon with day 2 of our series. Until then, take care and namaste.